Imagine you are sitting in traffic, already running late for an important meeting. The car in front of you is moving painfully slow, and suddenly, the driver slams the brakes for no reason. Your heart starts pounding, your hands tighten around the steering wheel, and frustration surges through you. Now, imagine someone close to you, maybe a friend or a family member, says something that feels like a personal attack. Your mind races, your chest feels heavy, and anger rises before you can even think. In both moments, you feel completely out of control, as if someone else has the power to dictate your emotions. Why does this happen? Why do people's words and actions affect us so deeply? Why do we let situations beyond our control determine our peace of mind? Every day, we encounter things that test our patience: rude strangers, unexpected delays, unfair treatment. But have you ever wondered why some people remain calm in these situations while others explode with anger? Is it really the situation itself? Or is it something deeper inside us? Think about this. Have you ever been in a good mood, and something that normally bothers you doesn't affect you at all? On the other hand, have you noticed that when you're already stressed, even the smallest thing can set you off? If the same situation can cause different reactions, isn't it clear that the real problem is not the outside world, but how we process it internally? Imagine how much more peaceful life would be if no one had the power to make you angry or bothered ever again. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore the teachings of Buddhism to help you find true peace. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement helps us bring you more life-changing wisdom. Buddhism teaches that anger is like holding a burning coal, thinking you are hurting someone else, when in reality, you are only burning yourself. The more we react, the more we suffer. The real secret to never getting angry again lies in understanding that anger is not caused by others, but by our attachment to control. We want people to act a certain way, and when they don't, we suffer. But what if we let go of that expectation? What if we learn to separate ourselves from the chaos of the world? In Buddhism, there is a story of a monk who was insulted by a man full of rage. Instead of responding with anger, the monk simply smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift, and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" The man was speechless. This simple story teaches us that just because someone throws negativity at us, we don't have to take it. Imagine how powerful you would feel if insults, criticism, or unfair treatment no longer affected you. The first step to true peace is recognizing that no one can make you angry without your permission. The more power you give to others over your emotions, the more you suffer. But once you understand that anger is a choice, you gain the freedom to remain calm no matter what happens around you. In the next part, we will explore why certain people trigger us and how to break free from their control. Stay with us, and let's uncover the path to true inner peace together. The illusion of control. Why people trigger you. You sit in a quiet room, breathing slowly, feeling at peace. Then, someone walks in and says something that stings. Maybe it's a criticism, maybe it's a careless remark, or maybe it's just their tone of voice. Suddenly, that peace is gone. Your heart beats faster, your mind fills with thoughts, and your body tenses up. You were calm just a moment ago, so why did a few words have the power to change your state completely? Most people believe that their anger is caused by others. They say, "He made me angry," or "She ruined my mood." But is that really true? If someone has the power to control your emotions, doesn't that mean you have given them that power? Think about it. If two people hear the same insult, but only one of them gets angry, then is the insult really the cause of anger? Or is it how we choose to react? A Zen story tells of a traveler who stopped by a small village. He met an old man sitting peacefully under a tree and asked, "What kind of people live in this village?" The old man replied, "What were the people like in the village you came from?" The traveler frowned and said, "They were rude and selfish." The old man nodded and said, "You will find the same people here." Later, another traveler arrived and asked the same question. "What kind of people live in this village?" The old man again asked, "What were the people like in the village you came from?" This traveler smiled and said, "They were kind and generous." The old man nodded and said, "You will find the same people here." The lesson is simple. The world reflects what we carry inside us. If we expect people to be rude, we find rudeness. If we expect kindness, we find kindness. But when we expect people to act a certain way, when we try to control how they behave, that is when we suffer. Most of our anger comes from expectations. We want people to treat us with respect. We want them to understand us. We want them to be fair, kind, and patient. But the truth is, people do what they want, not what we want. No matter how much we try, we cannot control their words, actions, or thoughts. So why do some people trigger us more than others? The answer is simple. They touch something inside us that is already wounded. If someone calls you a fool, but deep inside you know you are wise, their words will not bother you. But if you have doubts about your intelligence, their words will feel like an attack. Buddha once said, "You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger." This means that when you allow yourself to be triggered, you are the one who suffers, not the person who upset you. The anger burns inside you, not them. Let's do a simple experiment. Think of a person who always makes you angry. Maybe it's a coworker who never listens. Maybe it's a friend who always criticizes you. Maybe it's a family member who never understands your feelings. Close your eyes and imagine them saying the exact words that usually upset you. Feel that anger rising. Now, take a deep breath. Imagine that the same words are coming from the mouth of a little child. Imagine a 3-year-old saying those exact words. Do you feel the same anger? Probably not. Why? Because you don't take a child's words seriously. You don't expect a child to understand everything. So here's the secret. If you stop expecting people to behave the way you want, you will stop being affected by them. You don't get angry at a storm for being a storm. You don't yell at the rain for falling. People, like nature, behave according to their own patterns. Your suffering comes from wanting them to be different from what they are. But how do we let go of these expectations? The first step is awareness. The next time someone upsets you, don't react immediately. Instead, ask yourself, what expectation is causing my anger? Maybe you expected respect, but they were rude. Maybe you expected understanding, but they ignored you. Maybe you expected kindness, but they were harsh. Now, ask yourself, did this person agree to meet my expectations? The truth is, most people don't even know what we expect from them. We assume they should know, but they don't. When they fail to act the way we want, we suffer not because of their actions, but because of our own expectations. Imagine walking into a room full of people speaking a language you don't understand. Would you get angry at them for not speaking your language? No, because you know they don't understand. The same is true for emotions. Some people don't know how to be kind. Some don't know how to be patient. Some don't know how to communicate with love. Expecting them to do so is like expecting them to speak a language they have never learned. So what can you do? The answer is acceptance. Not passive acceptance, where you let people mistreat you, but wise acceptance, where you see people as they are, not as you want them to be. This doesn't mean you allow disrespect. It simply means that when someone behaves badly, you recognize that their actions are a reflection of them, not you. When someone is rude, it is because they carry rudeness inside. When someone is angry, it is because they carry pain inside. Their actions are about them, not you. And if you refuse to take it personally, you take away their power to upset you. A Zen master was once insulted by a man. The master smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift, and you refuse to accept it, to whom does it belong?" The man had no answer. The master continued, "The same is true for anger. If I refuse to accept your anger, it still belongs to you. This is the path to freedom. You cannot control others, but you can control whether or not you accept their negativity." The next time someone tries to trigger you, pause. Ask yourself, do I want to accept this gift of anger, or do I want to walk away in peace? In the next part, we will go deeper into how detachment can help you break free from emotional chains and reclaim your inner power. The power of detachment, breaking free from emotional chains. Sit with me for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let everything around you fade away. Now, think of the last time someone's words made you feel hurt, angry, or frustrated. Maybe it was a rude comment, an unfair accusation, or a betrayal from someone you trusted. Whatever it was, it got inside your mind, didn't it? It stayed with you long after the moment it passed. You replayed it in your head, thinking about what you should have said or done. Maybe it even kept you up at night. But let me ask you this. Why did their words have so much power over you? Imagine a rock in the middle of a river. The water rushes around it, but the rock does not move. It does not resist, it does not fight, and it does not complain. It simply exists, untouched by the current. Now, imagine a leaf floating on that same river. The water carries it wherever it wants. It has no control. It gets tossed, turned, and pulled under. Most people live their lives like that leaf, completely controlled by the currents of other people's words and actions. But you do not have to be that way. You can be the rock. When someone insults you, criticizes you, or treats you unfairly, you have two choices. You can react, letting their words pull you into anger and frustration, or you can remain steady, unshaken by the waves. But how? The answer lies in detachment. Detachment does not mean you stop caring. It does not mean you become emotionless. It means you stop letting external things control your inner peace. The Buddha once said, "Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional." What does that mean? It means that things will happen, people will be rude, unfair things will occur, and challenges will arise. But whether you suffer because of them is your choice. Think about a time when someone tried to provoke you, but you didn't react. Maybe you were too tired to argue, or maybe you just didn't care enough to respond. In that moment, their words had no power over you. They were just empty sounds in the air. That is detachment. It is the ability to observe without reacting. A man once came to the Buddha, angry and full of insults. He shouted at him, calling him all sorts of terrible things. But the Buddha simply smiled and asked, "If someone gives you a gift, and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man was confused. The Buddha continued, "Likewise, if you bring me anger and I do not accept it, it remains yours." This is the secret. Anger, hatred, and negativity only affect you if you accept them. If you refuse to take them in, they have no power over you. But detachment is not something that happens overnight. It is a practice, a way of life. The first step is awareness. The next time someone says something hurtful, pause. Before you react, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, do I really want to give this person control over my emotions? Do I really want to let their words disturb my peace? If the answer is no, then smile and let it go. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Each rock represents an insult, a grudge, a painful memory. Now, imagine dropping the backpack. Suddenly, you feel light, free. That is what detachment feels like. The weight of anger, resentment, and frustration disappears. But some people might say, if I don't react, people will walk all over me. They will think I am weak. This is a misunderstanding. Detachment is not weakness, it is strength. It takes far more power to remain calm in the face of negativity than to explode in anger. Think of the ocean. No matter how much the wind howls or the storms rage, the deep waters remain still. True strength is not in fighting every wave, but in remaining calm beneath the surface. So, how do you cultivate detachment? Start with small things. If someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of getting angry, let it go. If a stranger is rude to you, remind yourself that their words are a reflection of them, not you. If a friend disappoints you, understand that expectations create suffering. Let people be as they are, and free yourself from the chains of needing them to behave a certain way. Over time, you will notice something incredible. Situations that used to make you furious no longer affect you. Words that once hurt you now seem meaningless. You will find a deep, unshakable peace, a peace that no one can take from you. The world will not change. People will still be rude. Challenges will still arise. But you will change. And when you do, you will see that you never needed to control the outside world, only yourself. Let go. Be free. Be at peace. Mindfulness as a shield, mastering your inner state. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your body, filling your lungs. Hold it for a moment, and now let it go. This is mindfulness. Simple, quiet, and yet the most powerful tool you will ever have. Imagine a still lake, untouched by the wind. Its surface is calm, clear, and reflects everything without distortion. But when the wind blows or a stone is thrown, the water ripples, distorting the reflection. Your mind is the same. When it is still, you see life clearly. But when emotions disturb it, everything becomes chaotic. Mindfulness is the practice of keeping that lake still, no matter what happens around it. Think about the last time you got angry. Maybe someone spoke to you disrespectfully. Maybe things didn't go the way you expected. In that moment, your mind reacted like a stormy sea, waves crashing, emotions swirling, thoughts racing. But where did that anger come from? Did it come from the words spoken to you? Or did it come from inside you? The Zen master once said, "You are not disturbed by things, but by the view you take of them." Words are just sounds. Situations are just events. They have no power by themselves. The only power they have is what you give them. If you truly understand this, nothing can shake your peace. Let's say someone insults you. Your immediate reaction is to feel hurt or offended. But why? The words they spoke do not have the power to harm you physically. If a child were to say the same insult, you might laugh and ignore it. But when an adult says it, you take it personally. Why? Because you attach meaning to it. You believe their words define you, and that belief creates suffering. But here's the truth. Their words are not about you. They're about them. A person who carries anger, hatred, or jealousy will always throw negativity at others. It's like a cup filled with poison. When it spills, it can only release what is inside. If someone throws poison at you, will you drink it? No. Then why do you drink the poison of their words? Mindfulness teaches you to step back. Instead of reacting, you observe. You see the insult for what it is, just a collection of words spoken by someone who is suffering. You don't absorb it. You don't let it enter your heart. You remain like the still lake, untouched by the ripples. The next time you feel anger rising, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel the air in your lungs. Observe the anger. Where is it? In your chest? Your stomach? Your head? Notice it, but do not become it. When you observe anger, it loses its power. It is like watching a cloud pass in the sky. It is there, but it does not define the sky. This is how you master your inner state. You stop reacting to every little thing. You stop letting people control your emotions. You become unshakable. Now, let's take this even deeper. Have you ever been in an argument, and later, when you calmed down, you realized it wasn't worth it? In that heated moment, it felt so important. But looking back, you see how unnecessary it was. If you can see this truth later, why not see it now? Mindfulness is the ability to see the truth in the present moment. It allows you to step outside the storm and watch it instead of being caught inside it. And when you do this, something incredible happens. You stop suffering. You stop being controlled by people's words, by situations, by things that once disturbed you. You begin to move through life with a calmness that others do not understand. They may wonder why you don't react like they do. They may even try to provoke you, just to see if they can. But they won't succeed, because you have built a shield of awareness. Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." If you think you are a victim of other people's actions, you will always feel powerless. But if you think of yourself as the master of your emotions, you will be free. Try this. The next time someone angers you, pause. Do not react. Take a deep breath and simply observe. Watch how your body tenses up. Watch how your mind rushes to respond. But instead of acting, just stay still. Let the moment pass. You will realize that the anger fades quickly when you do not feed it. This is the power of mindfulness. It does not mean you become weak. It does not mean you let people walk over you. It means you choose your battles. It means you remain in control. Imagine a fire. If you throw it into it, it burns stronger. But if you stop feeding it, it dies out. Your anger is the same. If you stop reacting, it loses its fuel. And when you no longer react, you gain power over yourself and the world around you. You may think, but some people deserve my anger. Do they? Or do you deserve peace? Does your anger change them? Or does it only harm you? Let that sink in. Mindfulness is not about ignoring problems. It is about seeing them clearly, without being controlled by them. It is about choosing your response instead of reacting blindly. It is about protecting your peace above all else. You are not a puppet controlled by others. You are not a slave to your emotions. You are the master of your mind. And when you understand this, nothing and no one will ever be able to make you angry again. In the next part, we will go even deeper into the art of letting go. You will learn how to dissolve expectations and free yourself from the invisible chains that keep you stuck in anger. Stay with us on this journey and step into the true power that has always been within you. The art of letting go, dissolving ego and expectations. Sit down for a moment. Breathe. Feel the air entering your lungs, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Now, think about the last time you felt truly angry or deeply frustrated. Was it because someone disrespected you? Was it because things didn't go the way you wanted? Or was it because you expected something that didn't happen? Expectations are like invisible strings. We tie them to people, to situations, to life itself. We expect people to treat us a certain way, to respect us, to love us, to understand us. We expect things to go according to our plans. But when life moves in a different direction, when people don't behave the way we hoped, the strings pull tight, and we feel pain. The stronger the expectation, the deeper the suffering. Think about it. Have you ever helped someone, only to feel disappointed when they didn't appreciate it? Have you ever gone out of your way to be kind, only to be met with coldness? It is not their response that causes pain. It is the expectation of how they should respond that creates suffering. Buddhism teaches that true peace comes from letting go, not from letting go of people, but from letting go of the idea that they must behave the way we want. The world does not exist to satisfy our expectations. People have their own paths, their own thoughts, their own struggles. When we hold on to the belief that others must treat us a certain way, we set ourselves up for pain. But when we release that belief, we free ourselves. Imagine you are holding a rope, and someone is pulling it from the other side. The tighter you hold, the more it burns your hands. The more you resist, the stronger the pain. But the moment you let go, the pain stops. The rope falls, and so does your suffering. Life works the same way. The tighter we hold on to expectations, the more we suffer. The moment we let go, peace takes its place. Letting go is not weakness. It does not mean you accept disrespect, nor does it mean you allow people to walk over you. It means you stop giving them the power to disturb your inner peace. It means you stop expecting life to go exactly the way you want and start embracing it as it comes. Think about a river. It flows effortlessly, never trying to control its path, never resisting the rocks in its way. If a boulder stands before it, the river does not argue with the rock. It simply flows around it. That is the nature of life. The more we resist, the more we suffer. The more we accept, the more we flow. But how do we let go? How do we free ourselves from expectations when we've lived our whole lives believing that things should go a certain way? First, understand this. No one owes you anything. Not respect. Not love. Not understanding. That does not mean you don't deserve these things. It simply means that the world does not operate based on what we think should happen. People will act as they choose, life will unfold as it will, and the more you fight against this truth, the more suffering you create for yourself. Second, observe your reactions. The next time you feel anger, frustration, or disappointment, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what expectation is causing this feeling? Did you expect someone to appreciate you? Did you expect things to go smoothly? Did you expect fairness? The moment you identify the expectation, you take the first step in letting it go. Third, practice acceptance. This does not mean you stop striving for a good life. It means you stop clinging to how life must unfold. You do your best, and then you release the need to control the outcome. You give without expecting gratitude. You love without demanding love in return. You do what is right, not because you expect a reward, but because it brings you peace. There is a Zen story of a farmer who had only one horse. One day, the horse ran away. The villagers came and said, "What bad luck." The farmer simply replied, "Maybe." A week later, the horse returned, bringing 3 wild horses with it. The villagers rejoiced, saying, "What good fortune." Again, the farmer said, "Maybe." Soon after, his son tried to ride one of the wild horses and broke his leg. The villagers shook their heads, saying, "What a tragedy." The farmer remained calm. "Maybe," he said. A few weeks later, soldiers came to the village to recruit young men for war, but they passed over the farmer's son because of his injury. The villagers now said, "How lucky you are." And again, the farmer replied, "Maybe." Do you see? The farmer understood that life is unpredictable. What seems bad today may be good tomorrow, and what seems good now may lead to pain later. By letting go of judgment, by accepting life as it is, he remained at peace. This is the key to freedom. The more we demand that life meet our expectations, the more we suffer. The more we trust that everything is unfolding as it should, the more we find peace. Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you no longer carry the weight of expectations. Imagine how free you would be if nothing and no one could shake your inner calm. The path to letting go is not easy, but it is simple. Recognize your expectations. Observe how they create suffering. Release them, one by one. Flow like the river. Accept life as it comes. And in that acceptance, find a peace that nothing and no one can ever take away from you. In the next part, we will go even deeper into one of the most powerful truths of Buddhism, impermanence. Understanding that nothing lasts forever is the next step to freeing yourself from anger, frustration, and disappointment. Stay with us as we continue this journey to true peace. The wisdom of impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. Sit with me for a moment. Close your eyes and think of a time when you were deeply hurt. Maybe it was the loss of someone you loved. Maybe it was the sting of betrayal. Or perhaps it was just the pain of feeling lost in life. Now, think of a time when you were truly happy. Maybe it was a moment of love, a great success, or a time when everything seemed perfect. Both moments, joy and sorrow, have one thing in common. They passed. Everything in life is constantly changing. The seasons shift, the sun rises and sets, and the people in our lives come and go. Nothing stays the same, yet we often act as if it will. We cling to happiness, fearing the moment it will fade. We hold on to anger, keeping it alive long after the moment is past. But the truth is, nothing lasts forever, not pain, not joy, not even the person you are right now. Think about the river. It never stops flowing. The water you see in front of you is never the same water that was there a moment ago. Life is the same. Yet, when someone hurts us, we hold on to that pain as if it is frozen in time. We replay the moment over and over, keeping the wound open. But why? If the river does not hold on to a single drop of water, why do we hold on to our suffering? You may say, but what they did to me was unfair. Yes, maybe it was. But keeping that anger inside you is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The moment is past. It is gone. The only thing keeping it alive is your own mind. You are the one choosing to carry it. What if, instead, you let it go? Imagine waking up one morning and deciding that nothing from the past will have power over you anymore. The person who insulted you? Gone. The mistake you made years ago? Gone. The painful memory that plays in your mind like a broken record? Gone. Not because you are ignoring it, but because you understand that it no longer exists. The only place it lives is in your thoughts. And thoughts can be changed. Buddha once said, the root of suffering is attachment. We suffer because we refuse to let things be temporary. We want people to stay the same. We want life to move according to our desires. But life does not work that way. Just as you cannot stop the waves from reaching the shore, you cannot stop change. But you can learn to move with it, instead of fighting against it. Think about a leaf on a tree. In spring, it is fresh and green. In autumn, it turns golden. In winter, it falls. But the tree does not mourn the leaf. It knows that new leaves will come. This is how we must see life. What is lost will be replaced with something new. What hurts now will one day be just a memory. The more we fight change, the more we suffer. But when we accept that nothing is permanent, we find peace. If someone insults you today, will it matter a year from now? If you fail at something today, will it define your entire life? Nothing is as big as it seems in the moment. Everything shrinks with time. But if you keep feeding your anger, your sadness, your regrets, they will grow. The more attention you give to something, the stronger it becomes. So what will you feed? Your pain or your peace? Look at the clouds in the sky. Have you ever seen two clouds collide and fight? No. They move past each other, constantly changing, never holding on. If we lived like the clouds, we would never be stuck in anger, never trapped in sorrow. But we hold on because we believe the past has power over us. The truth is, the past only exists if you keep bringing it back. A wise monk once said, if a storm destroys your home, you can build another. But if you carry the storm inside you, it will destroy you. Many people spend their lives carrying storms inside them. They hold on to old wounds, old grudges, old fears. But a storm cannot hurt you if you let it pass. Let it go. The past is a shadow that disappears the moment you stop looking at it. You might wonder, but what about love? What about the people I don't want to lose? Love, too, is impermanent. Not in the sense that it disappears, but in the sense that it changes. The love you felt as a child is different from the love you feel as an adult. The love you had for a person years ago may not be the same today. This does not mean love is not real. It means love, like everything else, moves like the river. So how do we live knowing everything is temporary? We embrace it. We stop trying to make things last forever. We enjoy the good moments fully, knowing they will pass. We endure the painful moments with patience, knowing they will also pass. We stop fearing change, because change is just life moving forward. Think of the wind. You cannot see it, but you can feel it. You cannot hold it, but you know it is there. Life is the same. You cannot control it, but you can move with it. The more you resist, the harder it pushes against you. But if you let go, you will flow with it effortlessly. Next time you feel anger rising inside you, stop and ask yourself, will this matter in a year? In a month? Even in a week? Most of the time, the answer is no. The things that disturb us today are forgotten tomorrow. The people who hurt us today may not even remember their words. Why should you carry what they have already let go of? A great master once asked his students, if you carry a heavy rock, will it tire you? They said yes. He then asked, if you carry it for an hour, will it feel heavier? Again, they said yes. Finally, he asked, if you carry it for a lifetime, what will happen? They answered, it will destroy us. He smiled and said, then why do you carry your past like a rock on your back? Everything in life comes and goes. Pain comes and goes. Happiness comes and goes. Even you will come and go. The sooner you accept this, the lighter you will feel. You do not have to carry anything that does not serve you. You do not have to hold on to what is already gone. So today, right now, make a choice. Choose to stop fighting what you cannot control. Choose to let go of the anger, the pain, the fear. Choose to live like the river, always moving, never stuck. Because nothing lasts forever, and that is not something to fear. That is something to celebrate. Transforming negative energy, turning anger into growth. Sit with me for a moment and breathe. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. Let everything else fade. Now, bring to mind a moment when you were truly angry, your heart pounding, your fists clenched, your mind racing with thoughts of what was done to you. Hold that moment. Look at it. What do you see? Is it the situation itself that made you angry, or is it what your mind told you about it? Most people believe anger is something that happens to them, something beyond their control. But that is not true. Anger is not a force that enters you from the outside. It is something you create within yourself. And because it is created inside you, it can also be transformed. Have you ever noticed that anger can make you feel powerful? In the heat of the moment, it gives you a burst of energy, a sense of control. But the truth is, anger blinds you. It narrows your vision, clouds your judgment, and makes you act in ways you later regret. What if, instead of letting anger control you, you could use that energy for something greater? Think of fire. It can burn everything in its path, turning everything to ash. But the same fire, when controlled, can provide warmth, cook food, and forge strong metal. Anger is the same. Uncontrolled, it destroys relationships, peace of mind, and even your own body. But when harnessed, it becomes fuel for transformation. The next time you feel anger rising, pause. Just pause. Observe it like a scientist studying a storm. Feel its heat, its intensity. Then ask yourself, what can I do with this energy? Instead of letting it consume you, redirect it. If someone insults you, instead of wasting energy arguing, channel it into improving yourself. If a situation frustrates you, use that energy to take action. If someone wrongs you, transform that pain into wisdom. A wise monk once said, "A rock thrown into a river does not stop the river from flowing. The river simply moves around it, continuing its journey." You must become like the river. When obstacles appear, do not let them stop you. Let them pass through, and use their energy to flow even stronger. Look at history. Some of the greatest figures in the world faced injustice, cruelty, and hardship. But they did not let anger destroy them. Instead, they used it to fuel their purpose. Mahatma Gandhi faced oppression, but instead of responding with violence, he transformed his frustration into a movement for peace. The Buddha himself faced hatred and misunderstanding, but he did not allow it to poison his heart. He turned every challenge into wisdom. Now, look at your own life. Where has anger led you? Has it ever truly helped you? Has it ever brought peace? Or has it only caused pain? And now ask yourself, what if I could use it differently? What if, every time I felt anger, I could turn it into strength, patience, or understanding? This does not mean you should ignore or suppress anger. Suppressing anger is like holding a volcano inside. It will eventually explode. Instead, acknowledge it, accept it, and then decide what to do with it. Instead of reacting, choose to respond with clarity. Imagine someone yells at you, calls you names. Your instinct is to fight back. But before you do, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, why should I let their words control me? Instead of reacting, smile. Not to mock them, but because you understand, they are suffering. Their anger is a reflection of their inner struggle, not yours. Do not take it personally. Buddha once told a story. A man came to him, full of rage, and began insulting him. The Buddha remained calm, smiling gently. When the man finished, the Buddha asked, "If someone offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" The man was confused. The Buddha continued, "In the same way, if I do not accept your anger, it remains yours." This is the key. You do not have to accept the anger others throw at you. Let it remain with them. Your peace is yours to protect. But what about the anger that comes from within? The anger towards yourself, the regrets, the mistakes, the things you wish you had done differently? That, too, must be transformed. Instead of punishing yourself, learn from it. Every mistake is a lesson. Every regret is a teacher. Instead of looking at your past with anger, look at it with understanding. You are growing. Every day, you are becoming wiser. Do not think that transformation happens overnight. It takes practice. But every time you pause instead of reacting, you are winning. Every time you turn anger into action, you are growing. Every time you choose peace over conflict, you are strengthening your mind. You have more power than you think. Anger is not something that happens to you. It is something you create. And if you can create it, you can also transform it. The fire inside you does not have to burn you. It can light your way. In the next part, we will explore the true power of compassion and how understanding others can free you from suffering forever. Stay with me. The journey is just beginning. The power of compassion, how understanding in suffering. You have come far on this journey, seeking a life where anger no longer controls you. By now, you understand that anger is not something others create inside you. It is something you allow to exist. But there is still one great secret left, one that will completely dissolve your frustration, your resentment, and your bitterness toward others. It is the power of compassion. Let me tell you something that most people never realize. The person who hurts you, the one who insults you, the one who ignores or disrespects you, they are suffering. Every single person who tries to bring pain into your life is already carrying pain inside them. Think about it. Have you ever met a truly happy, peaceful person who goes around spreading negativity? No. Only those who are struggling inside, those who feel empty, lash out at others. But here's where most people go wrong. Instead of seeing their suffering, they take it personally. They react. They think, how dare this person treat me this way? But ask yourself, what if their anger has nothing to do with you? What if they are simply trapped in their own suffering, just like you have been in the past? Imagine a child throwing a tantrum, screaming and kicking because they are hungry or tired. Do you get angry at the child? No. You understand. You know the child does not have control over their emotions yet. So you remain patient, maybe even comforting them. Now, what if I told you that many adults are just like that child? Their bodies may have grown, but their emotions have not. When they yell, insult, or hurt others, it is just their way of releasing their own inner suffering. This is where your real power begins. When someone tries to hurt you, instead of reacting, try to see them as that struggling child. Instead of thinking, why are they doing this to me? Ask, what pain must they be carrying to act this way? The moment you shift from anger to understanding, their words and actions lose power over you. Imagine you are walking through a market, and suddenly, a person you don't know starts shouting at you for no reason. They are red-faced, furious, calling you names. What would you do? Most people would react instantly, shouting back, arguing, defending themselves. But let's take a step back. Suppose you were told beforehand that this person had just lost their entire family in a tragedy, that they were drowning in grief, unable to think straight. Would you still be angry at them? Or would you feel pity for them instead? You see, the difference is in your understanding. When you know why someone is acting the way they are, it is easier to let go of anger. But here is the challenge. Most of the time, we don't know. We don't know what pain, trauma, or burdens another person is carrying. And so, we assume they're just being cruel or disrespectful. But what if we lived with the mindset that everyone is fighting a battle we cannot see? What if, instead of reacting, we chose to give people the benefit of the doubt? Buddhism teaches that compassion is not about being weak, it is about being wise. When we stop taking things personally, we stop adding fuel to the fire. Have you ever been in an argument where the more you fought back, the worse it got? That is because anger feeds anger. But the moment you refuse to react, the fire dies. That is the power of true strength. Think about this. If someone is drowning and they panic, they will thrash and fight anyone who tries to save them. But a trained rescuer knows not to take it personally. They don't get angry at the drowning person. They stay calm and guide them to safety. The same applies to life. Most people are drowning in their emotions. They react, they attack, they project their pain onto others. But if you are calm, if you understand, then their panic cannot pull you under. Many people mistake compassion for weakness. They think, if I don't react, people will walk all over me. But true compassion is not about letting people hurt you. It is about choosing peace over pointless battles. When you understand someone's suffering, you don't waste your energy on anger. Instead, you use that energy to protect your own peace. Think of a great tree standing in the middle of a storm. The wind howls, the rain pours, and yet the tree does not fight the storm. It simply stands, deeply rooted, unshaken. This is how you must be. Let the world throw its chaos at you, but do not let it enter your heart. Now, here is something important. Compassion does not mean you have to accept disrespect or tolerate toxic people. It simply means you do not let them control your emotions. You can walk away without anger. You can set boundaries without hatred. You can protect your peace without falling into the same negativity as others. So, how do you apply this in daily life? The next time someone says something hurtful, take a deep breath and pause. Instead of reacting instantly, ask yourself, is this really about me, or is this about them? the answer will almost always be that it is about them. Then, instead of responding with anger, respond with silence. Smile if you can, not a mocking smile, but a peaceful one. If you must speak, say something simple like, "I hope you find peace." And then walk away. Do not carry their pain with you. Do not take their suffering into your own heart. Just let it go. There is a famous Zen story about two monks walking by a river. They see a woman struggling to cross. The older monk lifts her up and carries her across. After they continue walking, the younger monk looks upset. Finally, he says, "Why did you carry that woman? We are monks. We should not touch women." The older monk smiles and replies, "I put her down at the river. Why are you still carrying her?" This is the lesson. Most of us carry things long after they are gone. Someone insults us, and we carry it in our hearts for days, weeks, even years. But why? The moment has passed. Why are we still holding on? If you want to be free, you must learn to put things down. Let go of anger. Let go of resentment. Let go of the need for revenge. Only then will you truly be free. As you move forward in this journey, remember this. No one can steal your peace unless you allow them to. When you master compassion, you master life itself. Because the moment you stop reacting, the moment you stop taking things personally, the moment you choose to understand rather than to be angry, is the moment you become truly untouchable. In the next part, we will explore how to build inner strength so that no external chaos can shake you. But for now, reflect on this. The world will always have negativity, but you get to decide if you let it enter your heart. Inner strength over external chaos, mastering emotional stability. You have come far on this journey. You have learned about anger, attachment, and the illusions that control your emotions. But now, you must go deeper. You must understand how to build true inner strength, the kind that no person, no situation, no storm can shake. Imagine standing in the middle of a great storm. The wind is howling, the trees are bending, and the rain is pouring down in heavy sheets. But at the center of this chaos, there is a rock, unmoved, untouched. No matter how strong the storm gets, the rock remains. This is what emotional stability feels like. The world around you may be chaotic, but inside, you are calm. But how do you reach this state? How do you become like that rock? It starts with one realization. The world will never be completely peaceful, but you can be. People will always say things that could upset you. Situations will always arise that could frustrate you. If you are waiting for everything outside you to be perfect before you find peace, you will be waiting forever. The only way to be truly free is to stop looking for stability in things that change. A man once asked the Buddha, "How can I find peace in a world full of problems?" The Buddha smiled and replied, "Imagine a man walking barefoot on a rough road. Every step hurts, and he wishes the whole earth could be covered in soft leather so he would never feel pain again. But such a thing is impossible. Instead, he can cover his own feet with leather, and then he can walk anywhere without suffering." This is the key to inner strength. You cannot control the world, but you can control yourself. Think about your own life. How often do you expect people to treat you kindly? How often do you hope for days without difficulty? And how often are you disappointed when things don't go your way? It is like walking barefoot on rough ground, hoping the road will change. But what if, instead, you change yourself? What if you became stronger, so no matter where you walked, you remained unshaken? Strength does not come from avoiding problems. Strength comes from facing them without losing your peace. If someone insults you, the weak mind reacts instantly, feeling wounded, angry, or defensive. But the strong mind hears the insult and remains still. It understands that words are just sounds, and their power comes only from the meaning we give them. A Zen story tells of a great warrior who was insulted by a young man. The young man mocked him, called him a coward, tried to provoke him. But the warrior simply smiled and said nothing. Later, a student asked him, "Why didn't you fight back?" The warrior replied, "If someone gives you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" This is emotional stability. The insults of others belong to them, not to you. The anger of others is their burden, not yours. When someone tries to disturb your peace, you must ask yourself, will I accept this chaos, or will I remain calm? A river does not become dirty because someone throws a small stone into it. A mountain does not shake because the wind blows against it. You must become like the river, like the mountain, so vast, so stable, that no small disturbance can move you. But this does not mean suppressing your emotions. It does not mean pretending nothing affects you. It means observing without reacting. When anger arises, watch it, feel it, but do not act on it. When frustration comes, acknowledge it, but do not let it control you. The more you practice this, the stronger you become. The next time someone says something hurtful, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Is this worth my energy? Most of the time, the answer will be no. Most of the time, you will realize that your peace is far more valuable than proving a point, than winning an argument, than reacting with anger. Buddhism teaches that everything is temporary. Every storm passes. Every emotion fades. If you learn to watch without attachment, nothing can disturb you for long. You will feel anger, but it will not control you. You will feel pain, but it will not break you. You will walk through the storms of life, but inside, you will remain still. This is inner strength. This is true power. And this is the path to complete freedom. Finding peace in conflict, the Buddha's path to harmony. You have spent your whole life dealing with conflict. Some days it is small, an argument with a friend, a disagreement at work, a misunderstanding with a loved one. Other days, it feels unbearable, betrayal, deep wounds, words that cut like knives. In these moments, your heart pounds, your breath shortens, and your mind races, searching for the perfect response. You replay the argument in your head, thinking of all the things you should have said, all the ways you could have proven yourself right. But in the end, does it ever bring you peace? Think about the last time you had a serious conflict with someone. Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it was years ago, yet the memory still stings. Did your anger solve anything? Did your words make the other person understand you? Or did it only create more pain? You see, the problem with conflict is that we believe we must win. We believe that if we can make the other person see our side, we will finally feel at ease. But has that ever worked? Buddha once said, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. We think our resentment punishes others, but in truth, it only poisons our own hearts. The more we hold on to it, the more we suffer. But if anger and conflict only bring us pain, why do we keep choosing them? Because deep down, we believe that if we let go, we are losing something. We fear that if we don't fight back, we are weak. But this is an illusion. True strength is not in arguing, not in proving yourself right, but in remaining calm when others lose control. True power is in choosing peace when the world around you chooses chaos. There is an old Zen story about two monks who were traveling together. As they walked, they came across a woman struggling to cross a muddy path. One of the monks lifted her and carried her to the other side. After they continued walking, the other monk was silent, but his face was tense with frustration. Hours passed before he finally spoke. "You shouldn't have carried that woman," he said. "We monks are not supposed to touch women." The first monk smiled and replied, "I put her down hours ago, but you are still carrying her in your mind." This is what we do with conflict. We hold on to it, replay it, feed it, and let it consume us, even when the moment has long passed. But what if we could let go? What if, instead of reacting, we could respond with wisdom? Buddhism teaches that conflict arises because of attachment, attachment to being right, attachment to our ego, attachment to the way we think things should be. We expect people to understand us, to treat us with respect, to behave in ways that make sense to us. But the world does not work that way. People see life through their own lens, shaped by their own experiences. Expecting them to think like us is like expecting the ocean to stay still. It is impossible. So what can we do when faced with conflict? Should we remain silent? Should we ignore those who hurt us? No. The answer is not to avoid conflict, but to approach it with wisdom. When someone insults you, instead of reacting immediately, pause. Observe your breath. Feel the tension in your body. Recognize that their words are a reflection of their mind, not yours. Imagine someone throws a stone into a calm lake. If the lake is still, you see the ripples clearly. But if the water is already disturbed, the ripples mix with the chaos, making it impossible to see. Your mind is the same. If you are already filled with anger, even a small comment will disturb you. But if your mind is still, no insult, no conflict, no words will shake you. Think of the last time someone tried to provoke you. Maybe they criticized you unfairly. Maybe they raised their voice, trying to pull you into an argument. What would have happened if you had simply listened, without reacting? What if, instead of defending yourself, you had smiled and said, "I understand why you feel that way," and walked away? Would that moment still have power over you? Or would you have taken their control away? There is great power in non-reaction, not because you are avoiding the situation, but because you refuse to be controlled by it. When you argue, when you defend, when you fight back, you are still trapped in the conflict. But when you remain calm, you become untouchable. Now, this does not mean letting people walk over you. It does not mean allowing others to disrespect you. It means choosing how you respond. There is a difference between silence and wisdom. Wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to let go. If words must be spoken, speak them with clarity, not with anger. If a boundary must be set it with strength, not with hate. A man once came to Buddha, furious, shouting insults. Buddha listened quietly, his face calm. When the man finally stopped, Buddha asked, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, who does it belong to?" The man was confused. "To the person who offered it," he said. Buddha nodded. "Then I do not accept your anger, and it remains yours." This is the secret to finding peace in conflict. Do not accept what does not belong to you. If someone offers you anger, leave it with them. If someone tries to hurt you, do not take their pain as your own. The moment you stop reacting, you take away their power over you. But this takes practice. Your mind has spent years responding with anger, holding on to conflict, replaying arguments. To change this, you must train your mind, just as you would train your body. The next time someone upsets you, pause. Observe your reaction. Breathe. Instead of responding immediately, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? If the answer is no, let it go. And if a response is needed, choose your words carefully. Speak with calmness, not aggression. Stand firm, but without hostility. In doing this, you do not just avoid conflict, you transform it. You turn anger into wisdom. You turn chaos into clarity. You turn pain into peace. This is the Buddha's path to harmony, not avoiding conflict, not suppressing emotions, but learning to rise above them. Because the moment you stop being controlled by others, you become truly free. In the next part, we will take this even further. We will explore how to strengthen your inner world so deeply that no external force, no argument, no insult, no unfairness can ever shake you again. Stay with us, and let's continue this journey to unshakable peace together. The final test, applying these teachings in daily life. You have walked this path with patience. You have learned the wisdom of letting go, the power of mindfulness, and the strength of compassion. But now comes the true test. It is easy to understand these teachings in moments of peace. It is easy to feel calm when nothing disturbs you. But what happens when life challenges you? When someone insults you? When things do not go your way? That is when you must apply everything you have learned. Imagine you are standing in a long line at a store. You are in a hurry, but the cashier is taking forever. The person ahead of you is arguing over a few cents, and frustration starts building inside you. Your mind starts complaining. Why is this happening? Why can't people be faster? I don't have time for this. Anger begins to rise. Now pause. Take a deep breath. Observe your thoughts. Where is this anger coming from? Is the slow cashier really the cause of your suffering? Or is it your expectation that everything should move according to your wishes? Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from attachment, attachment to control, attachment to comfort, attachment to how we think life should be. The moment you release this attachment, the suffering disappears. The cashier is simply doing their job. The person in front of you is simply concerned about their money. Nothing is personally directed at you. If you accept this moment as it is, without resisting it, your frustration fades. You may even smile at the situation, understanding that life flows in its own way, not in the way you demand. Now, think about the people who anger you the most. Maybe it is a difficult boss, a rude neighbor, or a family member who always criticizes you. Every time you see them, tension rises in your chest. You already expect them to behave a certain way, and when they do, it confirms your frustration. But ask yourself, are they truly in control of your emotions? Or have you given them that power? If their words and actions decide your peace, then you have made them the master of your emotions. Why let them control you? One of the greatest teachings in Buddhism is that people act based on their own suffering, their own ignorance, their own struggles. A rude person is not rude because of you. They are rude because of what is inside them. A person who insults you does so from their own wounds, their own fears. Once you understand this, you stop taking things personally. You stop reacting. Instead, you see their suffering, and instead of anger, you may even feel compassion. Think of a barking dog. If you walk past and a dog barks at you, do you get angry? Do you yell at the dog? No. You understand that the dog is simply being a dog. It does not know better. In the same way, people lost in their own negativity are simply reacting to their own inner world. Their anger is not yours to carry. Their negativity is not yours to absorb. If you remain still like a deep ocean, no wave on the surface can disturb your depths. But understanding this is not enough. You must practice it. Every day, life will give you opportunities to test your peace. A delayed train, a disrespectful coworker, an unfair situation. Each of these moments is a training ground. Instead of reacting, pause. Observe. Ask yourself, do I want to give away my peace for this? Is this situation worth my energy? Slowly, you will find that things which once angered you no longer have power over you. There is an old Zen story of a monk who was once spat on by an angry man. Instead of reacting, the monk simply wiped his face and smiled. The man was shocked. He had expected a reaction, a fight, an argument. But the monk gave him nothing. He remained as calm as still water. That moment changed the man's life. He realized that anger only has power if it is received. If someone throws a gift at you and you do not accept it, who does it belong to? In the same way, if someone throws anger at you and you do not pick it up, it remains with them. Your journey is reaching its final steps. You have learned to let go of control. You have understood that anger is never caused by others, but by your own attachment. You have seen that nothing in life is permanent, not even frustration. But now, it is time to live these teachings. The real challenge is not in knowing, but in being. Can you walk through life with a mind as still as a mountain? Can you face storms with the peace of a flowing river? That is your final test. The next time anger arises, remember, this moment is your training. This is your chance to be free. Do not resist life. Do not fight reality. Let everything pass through you like wind through the trees. Stay rooted. Stay still. Stay free. Freedom from anger forever, the ultimate mindset shift. Sit with me for a moment. Breathe in deeply and let it out slowly. Let's talk, not as teacher and student, but as two people searching for peace. You have come far on this journey. You have understood why anger arises, how it controls you, and how to break free from its grip. But now, we reach the final step. Not just understanding anger, but letting it go forever. Imagine waking up one morning to a world where nothing bothers you. Someone cuts in line, but you don't care. Someone insults you, but their words float away like dry leaves in the wind. You watch life happen around you, but instead of reacting, you observe. Nothing controls you anymore. You are free. This is not a fantasy. This is real. This is possible. But it requires one thing, a choice. A choice to never be a prisoner of your emotions again. Now let me ask you something. Do you still believe that anger comes from other people? That the world is unfair, and that's why you feel upset? If you do, then understand this. You are giving away your power. If someone makes you angry, it means they are stronger than you. They control your emotions. They pull the strings, and you dance like a puppet. Is that the kind of life you want? No. You want to be in control. You want to decide how you feel. You don't want to carry the weight of anger, frustration, and resentment. You want to live peacefully. And you can. Right now, think of all the moments in your life where anger has stolen your peace. The arguments, the sleepless nights, the tension in your body, the words you regret saying. Was any of it worth it? Did holding on to anger ever bring you happiness? Or did it only make you suffer more? Buddhism teaches that clinging to anger is like holding a rope that burns your hand. The tighter you hold, the more pain you feel. But the moment you let go, the suffering stops. It's that simple. Letting go of anger is not about weakness. It's about strength. The strongest person is not the one who fights back. The strongest person is the one who doesn't need to. You might be thinking, but what if someone disrespects me? What if someone tries to take advantage of my kindness? Understand this. Letting go of anger does not mean letting go of wisdom. It does not mean allowing others to walk over you. It means responding with clarity, not emotion. It means choosing your actions carefully instead of being controlled by impulses. When you truly master this, people's words will no longer cut you. Their behavior will no longer shake you. You will not be numb. You will be aware. Aware that everyone is fighting their own battles. Aware that anger is a sign of weakness, and you are no longer weak. There is a story of a samurai who once challenged a Zen master to explain heaven and hell. The master, looking at the warrior, said, "You are nothing but a fool. You don't deserve my time." The samurai, enraged, drew his sword, ready to strike. The master then calmly said, "That is hell." The warrior froze. He understood. He put away his sword and bowed deeply. The master then smiled and said, "And that is heaven." The lesson? Heaven and hell are not places. They are states of mind. You create them within you. When you let anger control you, you live in hell. When you master your emotions, you live in heaven. So ask yourself, where do you want to live? The truth is, most people will never free themselves from anger. They will hold on to it. They will justify it. They will let it destroy their peace. But you are different. You have come this far. You have seen the truth. And now, you have a choice. You can walk away from this lesson and go back to old patterns. Or you can decide, right now, never to let anger rule your life again. It won't be easy. There will be moments when frustration rises, when someone tests your patience. But every time that happens, remind yourself, this is a test. I am in control. No one can take my peace unless I allow them to. Breathe. Pause. Smile. Let it go. Now, I ask you one last thing. If this journey has given you even a small piece of peace, share this wisdom. Let others know that they, too, can be free. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's continue to grow this space of peace and wisdom together. Because true peace begins with you. And once you have it, no one can take it away.